Hey friends, in today's video, I'm sharing how I made this cute fall wreath that is sharing some leopard pumpkins from Hobby Lobby. I will also share how I put my 10-inch deco mesh on the wreath form, as well as my ribbons that I chose for this wreath. I'm also going to give you some tips of how I put my embellishments into my deco mesh wreaths and give you some, tips and tricks of what works for me. Guys, if you're returning, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Tracy. I love to share crafty ideas with a bit of rustic country charm, just like today's project. I hope you'll consider subscribing before you leave today's video. All right, let's go ahead and get started, and let me share how I created this fall pumpkin wreath. Here's a quick overview of how I made the wreath. I have a 14-inch gold frame from Dollar Tree, as well as two 10-inch mesh, my rotary cutter, and some pipe cleaners. So what I do is I just roll these out together. I measure out 12 inches and then I just cut them all at the same time. Each wreath maker does theirs a little different, but this is just what works for me. And I am cutting 20 bundles of these two 10-inch mesh. And these 10-inch mesh came from Hobby Lobby. Now, to make my cruffles or my ruffles, I just take it and bend it over 2 times. I clamp it. Those little clamps came from the Dollar Tree. I gather it in the middle to make the ruffle. I clamp it. I do the other one the same way and just fold it over 2 times. I clamp it and then fold the other side. And then I'm going to stack them together. I make an X pattern and just, I like to get all of my ruffles, done. And then I use those clamps from the Dollar Tree that I get from the laundry section. They open very wide and it just helps me with my wreath making for these, little things like this. And so then I just take a pipe cleaner and then I just thread it on, and I usually start in the inner ring. I start in the inner ring and then I move to the outer ring, and I am going to put 20 of these bundles on this frame. So I will continue to put on my bundles until I get all the way around the wreath. And so this is what 21 bundles looks like on this wreath form. Okay, here are my ribbons that I'm going to be putting into this wreath. I either cut them at 13 inches or 12 inches. I like to cut the 2.5 inch at 13 inches and then the 1.5 at 12 inches. And so what I do is I usually make some bundles like this. Like I just take the extra time to fold these, have them together so that all I have to do is open up my pipe cleaners and put them on my wreath. I'm using 3 sets of ribbons because I don't know, I just like the 3 sets to put into my wreaths because I feel that it just really gives it different color and texture, and just with all the different patterns, I just mix everything up. And so I like to use the 2.5 inch and the 1.5 inch together. I usually cut the 1.5 inch just an inch smaller so that it lays a little bit better. All right, most of my ribbons either came from Hobby Lobby, Walmart, Craft Outlet, Michael's, and so these right here, the big dot came from Craft Outlet, the leopard came from Michael's, the window pane came from Hobby Lobby. I'm using my tiny attacher. Y'all have heard me say this in my videos. I like to use this. It puts a very tiny staple in it so that I can grab it, gather it, and go and just put it into my pipe cleaner. So I have my sets ready to go. I choose to, streamline this or, multitask. So I have everything ready to go. When I put them into my wreaths, I put them in at a tic-tac-toe pattern, and that way, I have a little of this and a little of that. And so these ribbons right here either came from Craft Outlet or either Hobby Lobby. And so I do the same thing. I am just putting them, putting my bundles together and having them all ready to go. Okay, as I mentioned, I put my ribbons in a tic-tac-toe pattern. In my wreath, I just open up the pipe cleaners and I stick them in there because I like to have them alternating. And so it's not really hard. It's just, you can kind of look at the wreath just to see. I just put them in at a tic-tac-toe pattern. Okay, the other embellishments that I'm using in this wreath are these adorable leopard pumpkins that I picked up from Hobby Lobby. I'm also using some foam pumpkins that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. I'm also using one of these welcome signs that I created using my Cricut. And so I'm just going to share just briefly, really quick here. I do have a full tutorial from start to finish of how I created this welcome sign. I will link to that in the description below if you would like to see exactly, a slower version. But this is just a really quick overview of how I created this welcome sign. I just love using my Cricut die cutting machine for little signs like this, as well as painting. It's just a great alternative. Okay, so to attach my sign, I use these cable ties that I get from Amazon. You can find them in my Amazon store if you're interested in something like this. And I just put two of them, glue them to the back, and then using some pipe cleaners, I thread it on and I attach my sign. As I mentioned, I want to share how I put my pumpkins in my wreath. All right, so the pumpkins are foam, and so I put a hole in it using either my paper piercer or I get something that is pointy and I put a hole in it. And I have just some wood skewers that I get from, like the kitchen section of Walmart or Dollar Tree has them, that kind of thing. But I get some that are a little bit thicker than, very thin wood skewers. Anyway, and so I just use some of my Fabri-Tac glue just to glue those in. And I kind of put them at an angle so that when I put them into my wreath, they will kind of be at an angle. And so what I do is I use Gorilla hot glue, and I make sure that I go in between the layers and I figure out where I want to put my pumpkins, and I go in between the layers and I make sure that they are really glued in. And I just take some of the glue just to I don't like the glue to be showing, but I just make sure that everything is glued and secure. Then I will add some other embellishments like some berries and some wheat. I had some of these in my stash. I think I got these from Walmart, and I just took them apart. I put a steel picks on the end of them so that I could, I like this steel pick machine. I'm not saying that, you need to go out and invest in a steel picks machine, but I did a long time ago, and it puts a small pick on the end of it. If you want to learn how to use it, I will link to a very good tutorial down below from Julie Samako of Southern Charm Wreath. She has an excellent video that shares all about this steel picks stemming machine, and you can see if it's something that you want to invest in. Anyway, so I will just continue to add just some different embellishments like some flowers, and again, I just take those apart and put some steel picks on the end of them. Those steel picks, they're used in floral like floral shops and that kind of thing, and it, once it gets in between that deco mesh for me, I feel it's not going to come out, and then I secure everything with the hot glue, and I just, stick everything in there, and, you'll hear me say the beauty is in the details, and I just love adding all the different layers to my wreaths, and I'm so glad that you are here too and want to see how I do my country style wonderful wreaths. Anyway, I do design for a local gift shop here in my hometown, and that's where I sell all of these beautiful designs, and it's so grateful that you're here and so grateful to the Lord for these talents that he has given to me. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope that you have picked up a tip or two today. I appreciate you all for being here. Have a blessed day. God bless.